Today we are talking about HMS Hood, an SR and Azur line, and one of, if not the most famous British ship of all time. Nicknamed Mighty Hood, and having a 21-year career, she is arguably one of the most famous ships ever. She's up there with like KMS Bismarck, USS Iowa, and any other famous battleships. Built in 1920 and being laid down in 1916, being built in 1920 and commissioned in 1920, she was at the time the largest warship ever commissioned. On top of that, she has, if not the best firepower of any ship up at that time. Followed shortly by that, she would be the biggest ship built by the British Royal Navy for quite a few years, I think 10 plus. And despite her career ending very tragically, as we all know, with her being one-tapped by KMS Bismarck due to her crap armor, she's also a very good ship in Azur line, being an SR that runs great with British fleets. Highly recommend her if you don't have any other ship to replace her and you want a good British fleet. Like, good recommendations are, like, if you want a good team with comp with her, like Queen Elizabeth, because that bonus. So that you want her as your flagship, Queen Elizabeth, and Warspite. That's the duo for the back fleet. You can run whatever British front fleet you want, as it will be a huge boost to the fleet due to how strong it is. British fleets haven't been very good due to being recently power creeped a lot, especially by Japan, who has got Musashi and other ships like I Am Magi, who are just better than Hood. But she's still a very good option. Getting to her history, in 1941, as we all know, during the Battle of the Denmark Strait, her and Prince of Wales would engage the British battleship and heavy cruisers, the German battleship KMS Bismarck, and the German heavy cruiser Prince Eugen. Hood would mistakenly target Prince Eugen, and as we all know, her lack of deck armor, only being I think 50 millimeters thick, did not do a very good job at protecting anything. Hood would take, I think, multiple hits, but of course, the one that would end up sinking her, and the only hit from Bismarck, I believe, would punch through her 50 millimeter deck into her rear aft magazine, and ammo would explode, sending the ship to the bottom. Famously, or well believed to be, Hood would fire one last shot. Her and Bismarck currently lie on the bottom, with Hood's wreck being in thousands of pieces. One of, if not the saddest wrecks ever. But, although she was an incredibly, she didn't see much combat action, she was still very important. Hood would fire shots and help cripple the French fleet by harming the battle cruiser Dunkerque. And despite her limited role throughout World War II, she is still a very well-known ship. And as I stated before, she is an incredibly strong ship, and a very good one at that. She's on my British fleet as my flagship. I highly recommend her if you're new to the game or you really, really need a ship to carry you. If you get her, use her. She will help carry you. Her best team, I think, is honestly Queen Elizabeth, Hood as flagship, and Warspite, retrofitted Warspite, of course. You want to run her with retrofitted Warspite. Outside of that, there's not too much that is horrible about her. She's overall very functional, very good ship. What can I say? Despite her power creep when Amagi released, she's one of the first battle cruisers ever released in the game. I don't remember if Renown and she was released. I think Repulse, I know, was at the start of the game. I don't remember if Renown was, but most likely, due to you do see her in the anime. But, Repulse is very good. Not Repulse, Hood is very good. She has overall reliable ship, and due to a variety of reasons, she's not that good anymore. But she's still viable, and I do recommend her. I don't think you should bring her into PvP. She's more like your grind fleet, because how good her Royal Navy Glory and Divine Marksman do make a really good combo if you run them together, if you run Hood and Warspite together. Huge damage, very good, does great stuff. Overall, highly recommended that you use her, despite her power creeps. Now, if you want to know my opinions on her, she is incredibly good. I've stated this very much. I don't say her burst is as good as Amagi's or even Key or even retrofitted Colorado that I don't own, but I don't think she's as good as that. But in a British fleet, she is incredibly powerful and incredibly good. Fairly recommend her. Now, if you want a fleet that does good damage and has high firepower, I do recommend the British fleet with Hood and Warspite. But if you want meta, don't use her. Of course, she's not very meta, but she's a reliable ship. If you're a British fanboy, of course, run her, because she's incredibly good. But that's it from me. Bye. This is Jeff. I'll see you later.